Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into a really practical path for finding some profound mental peace. And this isn't something new. It's drawn directly from some of the earliest Buddhist texts. It's a method for taking that restless, agitated mind we all have and turning it into a source of, well, radical freedom.
So let's just start with a question that I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why is it so incredibly hard to find genuine, lasting peace of mind? You know that feeling, right? It's like our thoughts are always buzzing, always agitated, always grasping for something or trying to push something else away. Well, this universal problem of inner restlessness, that's exactly what these ancient teachings set out to solve. And this quote just, wow, it absolutely nails the source of the problem. According to these texts, it's not the world outside that's the issue. Nope. It's our own internal craving that acts like this invasive weed, just taking over everything. When we live without really paying attention, heedlessly, this craving just grows and grows, and our sorrows multiply like crazy. But, if that's the cause, it also means the solution has to lie within us too. So where do we even begin? Well, the texts are super clear about this. You can't just jump into the deep end of meditation. It just doesn't work that way. It requires a really solid foundation. And that first step, it's not taken on a meditation cushion. It's all about preparing the ground of our daily lives to actually cultivate that inner calm.
The starting point is honestly surprisingly practical. It all begins with our behavior. The texts lay out this baseline of ethical conduct, which is really about renouncing actions, both in body and speech, that cause harm. And the logic here is pretty simple, right? A mind that isn't wrestling with guilt or conflict is just naturally going to be calmer. It's ready for a deeper kind of focus.
Okay, so the next layer of this foundation is something that texts call guarding the senses. Just think about it for a second. How much of our day is spent just being pulled around by what we see, what we hear, what we think? This practice is all about not getting so caught up in every little detail that you're just overwhelmed by either wanting something or hating something. It's a way of protecting your mind so it can find its own stability, instead of constantly being thrown off balance by everything happening around you. All right, so once that foundation is in place, we can move to the core technique for developing this really deep concentration, and that is the art of mindfulness of breathing. This is where the practice gets really interesting. The instructions for just setting up the practice are beautifully simple. There's no complex ritual here. Nothing fancy, it's just find a quiet spot, sit down, straighten your body, and bring your awareness right here to the present moment. The whole emphasis is on creating a simple, stable posture so the mind can actually do its work.
And this is the heart of it. The fundamental instruction is just to be aware of the breath. That's it. Mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. You're not trying to control it, you're not trying to change it. You're simply watching the natural rhythm of your own body, and you're making the breath the anchor for your attention. This simple act is the gateway to everything else.
Now, once the mind starts to settle down a little bit, the practice starts to evolve. It becomes more active. You actually start to use the breath as a tool to work with the mind itself. The texts say to train yourself by thinking, I'll breathe in experiencing the mind, and I'll breathe out gladdening the mind. See what's happening? You're now consciously calming and uplifting your own mental state with every single breath. And this leads to the most advanced stage of the breathing practice. The intention shifts toward this state of deep concentration, or samadhi, which is a state of just unified, unwavering focus. The instruction becomes, I'll breathe in, immersing the mind in samadhi, and I'll breathe out, freeing the mind. The practice now is all about unifying the mind and getting it ready for some really profound insight. So, what happens when you actually follow these steps? What's the payoff? Well, the sustained practice of mindfulness of breathing leads to these incredibly profound states of meditation, which the texts call the jhanas. So what on earth is a jhana? Well, think of it as a state of deep absorption, where everything external, all the sights and sounds, they just quiet down, and the mind becomes completely unified with the breath. And it's characterized by these powerful states of rapture and bliss that come not from anything outside you, but from the stillness of the mind itself. To try and describe these states, the texts use these absolutely beautiful similes. This one here, it's describing the bliss you feel in the second jhana. It's like a spring of joy welling up from deep inside you, just completely drenching every part of your being in cool water. It's an image of this profound, self-sustaining contentment. But here's the real kicker. As absolutely incredible as these states of bliss sound, they are not the final goal, not even close. The texts are very clear that the jhanas serve a much higher purpose.
They are a tool for something far more significant than just a temporary escape from stress. So this distinction is absolutely crucial. On one hand, yes, jhana is an experience of profound peace and bliss, but its ultimate function is as a tool. A mind that is stable, unified, and blissful through jhana is like a perfectly calibrated, high-powered instrument. It becomes powerful enough to see the nature of reality so clearly that it can cut through the very roots of suffering once and for all.
And this is what the entire path is for, not just a pleasant meditation session, but the complete and permanent ending of defilements, things like greed, hatred, and delusion. This leads to what the texts call the undefiled freedom of heart and freedom by wisdom. And what that means is a state of liberation that is totally and completely unshakable.
This beautiful image perfectly sums up that state of total freedom. The liberated person sheds all of their attachments to this world and even the next as easily and as naturally as a serpent sheds its old, tight skin. It's a complete renewal, a letting go of every single thing that binds you and holds you back.
And it's pretty wild to think that this entire incredible path, from a restless mind all the way to a state of radical freedom, is built on the foundation of just paying attention. It leaves us with a pretty provocative question, doesn't it? What could you discover if you simply learned to watch your own breath?